Part 8. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Ching Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 71. In just an instant, the lower body of the fish was frozen, making it impossible to move even if it wanted to. She quickly put the fish into the bucket, then quickly released the temperature control, and the fish started to jump alive again. She continued walking along the river bank, repeating her old tricks whenever she encountered fish, and soon there were more than 10 fish in her bucket. She felt enough, so she went to their rice field. She remembered that there were crayfish in the rice field. Sure enough, she found 7 or 8 crayfish not long after. Seeing that there were both males and females inside, she stopped looking for them. She just used the birth-promoting magic formula to directly induce them to give birth and let them give birth to cubs. She searched for a while and found 6 crabs. Seeing that there were both male and female crabs, she planned to go home. With these, there will be no shortage of fish, shrimps, and crabs to eat at home in the future. As for loaches and eels, she was really opposed to their appearance. Even if she saw them, she didn't do anything. Lu Hehua went to the fields early in the morning. She planned to work in the fields while it was cool today, and then go back to make breakfast when the sun warmed up. Seeing Chiao Ningxun walking towards her with a basket on his back, she walked over quickly. Lu Hehua was very excited when she saw that there were more than a dozen fish, a few crayfish and small crabs in the bucket. Ouch, there are so many fish, shrimps, and crabs, Ningxun. My aunt hasn't eaten fish for a long time, and she hasn't been in good health recently. You can give her 2 fish. I don't want more, I just want 2 fish. That's it? Chiao Ningxun rolled her eyes at her. Grandpa and Grandma haven't eaten fish for a long time, and they are not in good health. Why didn't you think of catching 2 for them before? Lu Hehua's face fell, and she said with a straight face, Chiao Ningxun, what is your attitude? I am your aunt, and you should be filial to me. Auntie? Filial piety, Chiao Ningxun said sarcastically. My mother said that since I was a child, I have never received a red envelope from your family during the holidays. I have never had a morsel of food or even a sip of water at your house. After drinking it, you often went back to my grandparents' house with your children to eat the food cooked by my mother, which cost a lot of my mother's money. You are not worthy of being my aunt. You have a son, and it is not my turn to be filial to you. After saying this, she walked past her. Lu Hehua stomped her feet angrily. She originally wanted to curse a few words, but thinking that Chiao Ningxun was so rich now and that she would be useful in the future, she couldn't break her face and could only swallow her words. When Chiao Ningxun returned home, her 2 elders had already gotten up and were busy in the kitchen and did not notice her return. She put down her backpack and carried the bucket to the small pond. She poured all the contents of the bucket into the small pond, and then recited the mantra to induce birth. After a while, the number of fish, shrimps, and crabs in the pond increased dozens of times. The fish, shrimps, and crabs originally fished out of the river have also grown several times in size. The second elder heard something moving in the pool in the kitchen. When he went out to take a look, he saw Chiao Ningxun smiling and saying, Grandpa, Grandma, you see, I caught a lot of fish, shrimps, and crabs. Fish soup is nutritious, and you can often stew fish in the future. Let's eat fish soup. My cousin likes crayfish and crabs the most. When they come back, we will make delicious food for them. The second old man looked out and saw that the fish, shrimps, and crabs inside actually filled the pool, and some of them were very big. Chiao Kongshen was shocked and said, how early did you go out, and you actually touched so many fish, shrimps, and crabs? Ye Kaixiang said worriedly, Ningxun, the rivers in our village are very deep. Please don't go alone again in the future. There is not a lot of people there in the early morning. Even if something happens, no one can save you. Chiao Ningxun said, I didn't go there too early. I was lucky, so I was able to catch so many. Don't worry, I will never go there again. These are enough. From now on, we can always have fish beget fish, shrimp beget shrimp, and crab beget crab. Things spawned by fairy magic are not that easy to die. The two elders said nothing after hearing this. Chiao Ningxun went back to the house and changed her clothes, then went to the kitchen to help. After having breakfast, she said, "Grandpa and Grandma, I will go to the city later. You should take a rest when you go to the fields. Don't be tired." The two elders nodded at the same time and didn't ask any more questions. Chiao Ningxun went upstairs to make some preparations, then got on the bus and went to the city in time for the bus to arrive. Yesterday, her mother called her and told her that today was the day Chiao Nianyi was discharged from the hospital. She had already prepared the scar removal cream yesterday. I will send it to her today so that she can recover as soon as possible. She has personally tested the effect of the scar removal cream on her body. In just one night, the old scars on her body have faded a lot, let alone the new scars on Chiao Nianyi's face. She had no intention of going to the hospital and went directly to her fourth uncle and aunt's community. Before leaving, she went to a shopping mall owned by Junhua and bought some gifts. Some of them were placed in the space and some were lightly held in her hand, planning to wait until she got to the door to pick them up. She now has more than 2 million in her hands, and her fourth uncle is also very good to her family. So she doesn't worry about money. She buys whatever is expensive and whatever the little girl likes. I hope I can temporarily divert the child's attention so that she doesn't care so much about her appearance for the time being. After all, the scar removal cream still takes some time to take effect. Of course, the fourth uncle's family also has a boy, Chiao Nianhe, and she has also prepared a gift. Soon, she arrived at the door of her fourth uncle's house. After taking out the things in the space, she rang the doorbell. Xiang Chemin heard the doorbell ringing and quickly opened the door. She was extremely happy when she saw Chiao Ningxun outside. I just saw that she bought so many things, including meat, fruits, and toys. Xiang Chemin stepped forward to help her carry the things with a look of helplessness. "Ningxun, just come to my aunt's family. Don't buy so many things next time. They look expensive and cost a lot of money. Don't be like this polite." Chiao Ningxun walked in with a smile. "It's okay, I like Nianyi and Nianhe, and as a cousin, it's right to buy them things." Chiao Shulan was busy in the kitchen when she heard the noise outside and came out. Seeing her daughter buying so many things, she agreed very much. "Chu man, she is my cousin, so don't talk about her." Okay. Xiang Chemin nodded and looked towards the bedroom. "Nianyi, Nianhe, you come out quickly, your cousin is here and bought you a gift." Chiao Nianyi already knew that her face was going to be disfigured, and she was feeling sad in the room. When she heard that there was a gift, her eyes suddenly lit up, and she immediately forgot about the disfigurement and ran out quickly. Chiao Nianhe is only 6 years old this year, and he is at the age where he loves to play. When he came out, he saw a lot of toy boxes, and he was very excited. Chiao Ningxun saw the two of them coming out, sorted out the 4 boxes on the right, and said with a smile, "Nianyi, the gifts in these 4 boxes are all for you. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible." Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 72. The front of the box is transparent, so Chiao Nianyi can clearly see what is inside. Seeing that there were dolls, princess skirts and her favorite hanfu skirt inside, she was very happy and said softly, "Thank you, cousin." "You're welcome." Chiao Ningxun touched her head, then turned to look at Chiao Nianhe, and placed the 4 boxes on the left at his feet. "Nianhe, these 4 are for you. See if you like it." Chiao Nianhe looked at each box. Inside were animal dolls, excavators, toy guns, and remote-controlled cars. He jumped up and down excitedly. "Cousin, I like them all. I like them all. Thank you, cousin." Chiao Ningsun was very satisfied with their expressions. Take them all back to the room and dismantle them. The two of them said at the same time, yeah. When the child returned to the room, Chiao Ningsun put some of the vegetables she bought on the table. Auntie, these foods are helpful for Nianyi's wound recovery. Let's make some for her later. Xiang Chemin nodded. Well, you are interested. Chiao Ningsun glanced at the door of the room, and suddenly took out a jar of medicine from her bag and put it in Xiang Chemin's hand. Auntie, this is the scar removal medicine I tried to get. The stitches on Nianyi's wound should have been removed. Right? You can apply it on her wound every morning and evening starting from today. Believe me, her face will be as good as ever within a week. Xiang Chemin and Xiao Shulan stared blankly at the jar of medicine at the same time. Is there any scar-removing medicine in the world that is so effective? Xiao Shulan opened the jar and took a look, worried. Ningxuan, where did you buy it from? Are you being cheated? Xiao Ningxun suddenly picked up her trousers and showed them the wound she suffered from a fall when she was a child. You all know that there is an obvious wound on the knee of my left leg. You see, I only used it for one day. Are the scars much lighter now? Xiao Shulan knew her daughter's body best. She knelt down and took a closer look, and was immediately pleasantly surprised. It's really true. It's faded a lot. Thinking of her daughter's secret, Xiao Shulan stood up and said excitedly, Chu man, you can rest assured to use Ningxun's medicine, it will definitely be effective. Xiang Chemin nodded, okay, thank you Ningxun. Xiao Ningxun added, the medicine is all made from wild Chinese herbal medicine, and the effect is particularly good. If you are worried about using it directly on your children, you can also use it on yourself first, just in case. Xiang Chemin smiled and said, no need, Aunt believes in you. Hearing this, Xiao Ningxun didn't say much. He glanced at the living room and asked, isn't Uncle back yet? Xiang Chemin said, he came back a few days ago. He originally wanted to ask for leave from the company to accompany Nianyi, but the company didn't give him leave, so he had to go to work honestly. After tomorrow's rest, he can come back. That's it. Xiao Ningxun looked at the fruits and meat on the table again. Auntie, put these in the refrigerator, we won't be able to finish them in a while. Good. Since it was almost noon, Xiao Ningxun also went to the kitchen to help cook. But Xiang Chemin knew that she had worked the journey and insisted on letting her go out to watch TV, but she stopped insisting. The house in front of me is rented by my fourth uncle and my fourth aunt. It is more than 60 square meters, but it is a 3-unit apartment. You can imagine how small the kitchen is. Xiao Ningxun came to Xiao Nianyi's room, where she was trying on a princess dress. Xiao Ningxun stepped forward to help her zip up the zipper. Xiao Nianyi came to the mirror and looked at it. She turned around twice more and was very satisfied with the effect of her upper body. Cousin, the skirt you chose is really beautiful. I like it so much. I told my mother that I wanted it many times before. Mom, don't even buy it for me, it's a waste of money. Xiao Ningxun saw that the happiness in her eyes didn't seem to be fake, so she also smiled and said, then my cousin will buy it for you more often, okay. Xiao Nianyi was about to nod, but suddenly she became depressed again. No. No need, I have scars on my face. I heard from the nurses at the hospital that my scars may be difficult to remove in the future. Such a beautiful dress is not suitable for my face. Mom also said that you are not allowed to accept gifts from others casually, and you are not allowed to ask others for money. Xiao Ningxun knew she would think so. Today's children are too precocious. Nianyi, don't worry. I just gave your mother the ointment. As long as you apply it, your face will be back to its original state. Xiao Nianyi's eyes suddenly lit up, and her voice became brisk. Cousin, are you telling the truth? Xiao Ningxun nodded. If my cousin is lying to you, my cousin is a puppy. Xiao Nianyi was satisfied. Thank you, cousin. At 12:30 noon, everyone sat down to eat together. When everyone was almost finished eating, Xiangchaman looked at Jiaoshulan gratefully and said, "Second sister, thank you very much for taking care of Nianhe for me this time." After speaking, she took out a red envelope that she had prepared and placed it next to Jiaoshulan. "It has delayed your job search these days. This is a little bit of my kindness. Please accept it." Jiaoshulan pushed it over without thinking, and said helplessly, "We are all a family, don't be so polite. Nianhe is also my nephew, and I should take care of him. You give me money, not take it from me, be an outsider." Jiao Ningxun nodded in agreement. "Yes, fourth aunt. Last time, fourth uncle also borrowed my medical expenses. We should help each other. If you do this, we won't dare to come to you if anything happens in the future." Helped. Hearing this, Xiangchaman had no choice but to put the red envelope in front of Jiao Ningxun. "We were busy on your birthday this year and didn't celebrate your birthday, so this red envelope should be regarded as a birthday gift for you. How can you do this? Must accept it." Jiao Ningxun took out all the money from the red envelope, leaving only 6, and pushed the rest over. "6 is enough, thank you, aunt." Hearing this, Xiangchaman didn't force himself any further and could only keep the money. After a while, Xiangchaman and Jiaoshulan were washing dishes in the kitchen, while Jiao Ningxun continued to accompany the two children. At this moment, there was a knock on the door again. Jiao Ningxun opened the door and saw a fat woman, and asked doubtfully, "Who are you looking for?" The fat woman saw an unknown child and said impatiently, "I'm looking for Xiangchaman." "Where is she?" Jiao Ningxun was very dissatisfied with her attitude, but still shouted inside, "Auntie, someone is looking for her." Hearing this, Xiangchaman didn't even bother to wipe off the foam on his hands. He came out to take a look and hurriedly said, "Landlady, what do you want from me?" The fat woman glanced into the living room and saw that the left side of Jiao Nianyi's face was indeed wrapped in gauze. She was instantly relieved and said with a haughty look, "The rents in the surrounding communities have increased very quickly recently, and the price I give you is also reasonable. It's too low. If I say it, others will laugh at me. The contract we signed will expire at the end of this month. If you want to stay here, you can get an extra 1,000 per month." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 73. 1,000, Xiangchaman frowned and said, "That's too much." The fat woman snorted, "Is it too expensive? Then move out when the expiration date is due. Remember, clean up, restore all the places you have touched to their original state, and repair all broken electrical appliances. Otherwise I will not refund your deposit." She has already inquired about it, and there is no vacant house in the same community. Even if there is one, it is only a flat, and the family can only rent her house. Xiangchaman was helpless and frowned. "Okay, today is June 21st. There are still a few days before the end of the month. Let me think about it." "Okay." Xiangchaman closed the door, glanced at the house in front of him, and sighed. She took out her mobile phone and searched for houses in the same community on the rental website, but all of them only had one apartment, or shared houses with only single rooms. The situation is the same in nearby communities. Jiao Ningxun wondered, "Auntie, if she doesn't want to rent, then she can't rent. You can always find a house elsewhere. And haven't you and your fourth uncle already mortgaged a house? Hasn't the developer handed over the house yet?" Xiangchaman returned to the sofa and sat down, explaining, "I don't want to move because it's very close to the schools and cram schools of my two children and where their dad works. I work independently at home. The design is the same wherever I live, but I think it will be difficult to find a house so close in the future. As for the mortgage house, it has been handed over, but the money for the renovation was not enough. With the mortgage, the rent of this house, plus raising 2 children, we have had enough hardships. You and I, the 4 of us, my uncle doesn't want to go into debt and put more pressure on himself. I do have some money on hand now, but that's for Nianyi. Besides, even if we renovate the house now, it will take some time, plus drying, it will take at least a year before we can move in. We still have to rent a house. The air became quiet for a moment. Seeing the worry on the second sister's face, Xiangqimen cheered up and hurriedly said, "My child is on summer vacation. I have to take care of 2 children recently, so it is impossible to find a house. At the worst, I will agree to the landlady's request, but in the future it's time to live a little more frugally." Qiao Ningxun thought of the sinister expression on the fat woman's face just now, raised her eyebrows and said, "Aunt, people's hearts are unpredictable. The landlord didn't tell me sooner or later, but you guys came over to tell me after you came back from the hospital. I think she wants you to do it now. I was taking care of the patients and had no intention of looking for a house, so I came to take advantage of the situation." Xiangqimen and Qiao Shulan were stunned at the same time. This was indeed a possibility. Qiao Ningxun added, "Auntie, you can call the landlord right away. You can try to say yes. She will definitely raise the price again. It's hard for you to move now." Xiangqimen thought about it for a moment, then made the call and turned on the speakerphone. "Xiangqimen, landlady, I've thought about it and I can agree." "Landlord, you agreed, but I regret it. I just asked my friends in the community and they all said that my increase of 1,000 yuan was too little. I should have increased it to 2,000 yuan. Xiangqimen and Qiao Shulan looked at Qiao Ningxun in shock at the same time. Qiao Ningxun spread her hands helplessly, looking like she knew what was going on. "Xiangqimen, the sudden increase of 2,000 is really too much. I have to think about it and get back to you when I make a decision. Landlord, give me an answer as soon as possible. The location of this community is very good. I will raise the price if it is too late." Xiangqimen hung up the phone and looked at her niece in astonishment. "Ningxun, you are so awesome, I really got you right." Qiao Ningxun said seriously, "Auntie, what are you going to do now?" Xiangqimen said, "It is impossible for me to agree to an increase of 2,000. I will have to stop working temporarily and look for another house. But the 2 children will have to stay at home by themselves." "No," Qiao Shulan said, "it's too dangerous to leave 2 children at home. Why don't I take care of them while you go find a house?" Xiangqimen said, "That would be too troublesome for you, and you can't hide it from your parents." Qiao Ningxun suddenly said, "How about this, let my cousin and cousin go back to Deguo village to live in our house. Anyway, my cousin is discharged from the hospital now. When the time comes, we will say that she accidentally fell and the old man saw that her wound has healed. I definitely won't be too worried. Summer vacation is about to begin, and I'll be at home every day. Even if my aunt can't find a house for a while, she can still live in Deguo village after the house expires anyway. Given my cousin's current situation, she won't go to dance school for the time being. As for the 4th uncle, it would be fine if he can find a house before the expiration. If he can't find it, let him live in a dormitory temporarily. Of course, if he doesn't mind going back and forth between the city and the village every day, he can also go home every day." Qiao Shulan somewhat disagreed. "The conditions in the countryside are difficult. These 2 children have grown up in the city. I don't know if they can get used to it." Qiao Ningxun raised his eyebrows and remained silent for the time being. She did not tell her mother that her home had been remodeled. When she goes back, give her mother a surprise. Xiangqimen looked at the 2 children. "Nianyi, Nianhe, do you miss your grandparents? Do you want to go back to your hometown to see them?" The 2 children nodded at the same time. "I think." Xiangqimen thought about it for a while and nodded. "Ningxun, Just do as you say. When their father comes back, I will convince him. After we have discussed it, we will go back. Xiao Ningxun nodded, okay. When she returns to the countryside, her two children will be able to eat the food she used to induce birth every day. Their bodies will definitely recover faster, they will grow better, and they will be smarter. Since Xiao Nianyi had just been discharged from the hospital and needed to rest, Xiao Ningxun and her mother didn't stay long, and left Xiang Chemin's house after talking for a while. The landlord just now lives opposite Xiang Chemin's house. She has two houses, door to door. The fat woman saw Xiao Ningxun and her mother leaving in the cat's eye, and whispered to her man, "Do you think Xiao Jianru and his wife will agree?" The man snorted, "I'll definitely agree. I've found out everything. They rented our house here just because of its good location. At this time, there are no other vacancies in our community, and their daughter has just been discharged from the hospital, so they definitely don't have time. We are looking for a house. The price increase is just right at this time. From now on, we can earn 2,000 more every month, which is enough for us to make a living every day." The fat woman hesitated a little. "Are we going too far? I always feel like I'm taking advantage of someone else's child who has just been discharged from the hospital." The man didn't take it seriously and said, "In this world, good people cannot survive. Put away your useless bodhisattva heart. 2,000 more a month and 24,000 a year. We can also support our children in the future. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible." Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 74. The fat woman thought of her own child and stopped worrying. The man turned his head and came to the bathroom. He was about to go to the toilet, but suddenly he stepped on the floor tiles that were still wet. His feet slipped and he fell down instantly. With a bang, his head fell to the ground, making a loud noise. Just for a moment, his eyes went dark and he fainted. The fat woman heard the noise in the bathroom and ran over quickly. She saw her man fell to the ground, and his head was slowly bleeding. The fat woman suddenly became anxious and shook the man's body quickly, "Husband, husband." But the man's eyes were closed tightly and he didn't react at all. The fat woman had no choice but to open the door and go to the opposite door to ask for help. Xiang Chemin opened the door and saw the fat woman saying anxiously, "My husband fell down in the bathroom. Can you help me? I know you have a car at home. Can you take him to the hospital?" Xiang Chemin was stunned. Is this the retribution of this world? But she was not an easy person to talk to after the other party treated her like that just now. "Sorry, my husband has left the car, and I have two children to take care of. I really don't have time to help. You can go find the other two families, they also have cars, or call the emergency phone." Xiang Chemin closed the door after finishing speaking. Perhaps the other party thinks that he is the landlord, and he will rush to please them. But after renting a house for so many years, she knew the landlord's temperament. Even if she helped this time, they would probably increase the rent. She still has two children to take care of, one of whom has just been discharged from the hospital. The car was indeed driven away by Xiao Jianru. She really has no self-sacrifice and she has to be responsible for her own children. The fat woman was rejected and gave Xiang Chemin a fierce look. "Since I can't help, the rent will be increased by 3,000 next month. If you don't want to rent, get out." After saying that, she picked up her mobile phone and prepared to call 120. Xiang Chemin is not a good-tempered person, so he couldn't bear it anymore after hearing this, and sneered, "No matter how much you raise, it has nothing to do with me. I will move out before the lease expires. You can find someone else to take you in. It's worth 3,000 yuan. After saying that, she slammed the door and closed it. The fat woman was stunned. This man really dared to move away? She didn't have time to curse back, so she quickly called 120, and then went to call 2 other houses to ask them to help and see what to do while waiting for the ambulance to arrive. Once out of the community, Chiao Ningsun did not get on the bus for the time being, but took her mother to go shopping together. Chiao Shulan took a look at her daughter's clothes, which were all washed white t-shirts, and said with an apology, "Ningsun, I'm sorry, I have really neglected you during this time." Chiao Ningsun said as she walked, "It's okay, Mom, I have grown up and have money. I can buy whatever I want. Let me tell you, I sell mushrooms every day when you are not at home." As she said that, she leaned close to her mother's ear and whispered, "I already have more than 2 million in my hand, so you don't have to work so hard in the future. I also bought my grandparents' insurance. I will use your mobile phone when I get back. If you buy insurance, you won't have to worry about it when you get old." Chiao Shulan suddenly stopped and said with shock on her face, "You actually found so many fungi. More than 2 million, her daughter actually has so much money in her hands." Ningsun is only 16 years old now, and she has already earned wealth that she and Yuan Deshan have never been able to earn in their lifetimes. It is so amazing. If Yuan Deshan knew that his daughter had become so rich after he gave up custody of his daughter, he would probably beat his chest with regret. Chiao Ningsun nodded, "So Mom, from now on you can stay at home with your grandparents. If you are really bored, just raise some livestock and plant a small amount of land. I can support you in the future Mom, relax and take good care of yourself, you won't get terminal illnesses again in the future." Chiao Shulan felt like she was in a cloud and fog, and everything felt unreal. She didn't go back for just a few days, and all the pressure on their family disappeared. This is incredible. If Chiao Nianyi and Chiao Nianhe really returned to Daguo village, Chiao Shulan would definitely take care of them. She would not be looking for a job for the time being, and she would not let down her daughter's heart, so she had no choice but to nod, "Okay, Mom will listen to you for the time being." Chiao Ningsun doesn't have the mentality of a nouveau riche. When he thinks he is rich, he will wear the best in everything. The money in her hand is really not enough in the eyes of truly wealthy people. So the mother and daughter went to ordinary street shops and bought whatever they thought looked good. "Not only did I buy several sets of clothes for myself, but I also bought them for my family members." Chiao Ningsun thought that Chiao Nianyi and Chiao Nianhe were going home, so he bought several sets for them. When she needed medical expenses, her fourth uncle transferred the money without hesitation. Such a great kindness could not be repaid with a box of scar removal medicine and some gifts. While passing by Junhua, Chiao Ningsun bought a lot of food and went back. Tomorrow is Saturday, and he Yuanhui is coming back again. It's time to replenish his health. Since they bought too many things, taking the bus back was inconvenient and annoying, so Chiao Ningsun took the luxury of taking a taxi home. "Just as soon as I got home and took all my things out of the car, Lu Hehua, Ye Yunting, and Lu Yuero, who lived not far away, came over. Lu Hehua said, 'Second sister, I haven't seen you for so many days. What have you been doing?' Chiao Shulan responded coldly, 'It's none of your business.' Lu Hehua's face fell. Ye Yunting looked at the drive away, 'You are so prosperous that you are willing to take a taxi back. In a small village like ours, taxis don't have meters and they are all fixed prices. You must have spent a lot of money, right?' Chiao Ningsun snorted, 'None of your business.' Ye Yunting's face instantly turned sinister. Lu Yuero saw that the two sisters-in-law were exhausted, and continued to ask, 'Look at you guys with big and small bags, what good things have you bought? Show it to us too.' Chiao Ningsun gave them each a look, 'What good things can I buy? It's just because my mother saw that my cousin, and my grandparents didn't have much to wear all year round, so I bought some clothes.' Lu Hehua said with a sinister look on his face, 'There are dozens of pockets here. You must be too reluctant to buy clothes.' Chiao Ningsun sneered, 'Of course you have to be willing to treat your parents and elders. It's not like some people in the same village who haven't bought a single piece of clothing for their elders since the family separation. Instead, they find ways to take advantage of their elders. Xiao Shulan also imitated her daughter's tone and said, "Yes, your husbands were brought up by Yuan Yang and Yuan Huai's mother when they were young, but what about their uncles and aunts? Knowing that they have no parents, they are extremely pitiful, but they only have the same clothes. If they don't buy it, they won't be given a morsel of food or a sip of water. If I, the second aunt, don't treat them better, they will be too pitiful." Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 75. After saying this, the two of them entered the door at the same time and locked the door without even giving the three of them a look. The three of them were immediately embarrassed. When they saw someone approaching not far away, they were worried that others would laugh at them, so they had to leave quickly. Back at Lu Hehua's house, the three of them dared to show their temper. The second sister now relies on her daughter to make money, so she speaks more forcefully. "What can we do? Someone else has money." "Humph, nouveau riche, how much money can they have? If they dare to buy so many things, I think their families will become even poorer than before sooner or later." "Okay," Lu Hehua said, "anyway, that side is indeed rich now, and it might really be able to help us a lot in the future. Now we should also find ways to repair the relationship with that side." Ya Yunting said, "Every time the second sister sees us, she complains that we didn't give our parents alimony in the first place. If we want to repair it, we must give money." Lu Yuero nodded, "Yes, if we had known that Jiao Ningxun was so rich and willing to give money to our parents, we would have been nicer to our parents before." Lu Hehua thought for a moment and said seriously, "What you said makes sense, but we still have to discuss it with us men. It doesn't matter if we take the money, we have to discuss it. It's too much, and I can't bear it. We also have to live at home." They both nodded at the same time. After Jiao Ningxun and her mother returned home, they quickly moved the shopping bags into the living room. At this time, it was already time to cook dinner, and the two elders were also at home. Seeing that they bought a lot of things, they quickly came to the living room. Xiao Shulan saw her parents coming in and handed them the clothes she bought for them. "Dad, Mom, these are Ningxun's wishes. You go back to the house and try them, and I'll cook." The second elder suddenly felt happy as he held his pocket. "Thank you so much, Ningxun." Xiao Ningxun just smiled and was about to speak when they heard footsteps going downstairs. He Yuan Hua's voice came first before He Yuan Hui arrived. "Second aunt, cousin, you are finally back. Where have you been? Why are you back so late?" Xiao Ningxun stuffed several shopping bags into his arms. "I'm going to buy clothes for you. Go try them on. There are a total of 5 sets of clothes here, all of which are suitable for you. They are perfect for summer vacation." He Yuan Hui was very pleasantly surprised. He hadn't bought any new clothes this year and couldn't wait to go back to his room to try them on. The others smiled helplessly and did what they should do. He Yuan Hui changed quickly. After changing all the clothes, he came down with a new set of clothes and went straight to the kitchen. "Second aunt, they all fit well and look good." "Thank you, second aunt." Xiao Shulan took a look at his clothes. They looked very energetic indeed. She looked at her daughter with a smile and said, "If you want to thank me, thank your cousin. She picked them all. I didn't give them any advice at all. She also gave me the money." He Yuan Hui was stunned for a moment, then went to find Xiao Ningxun. "Cousin, thank you. I like these new clothes so much that it cost you money." Although he had always worn street stall goods before, he also knew some brands of clothes. Just looking at the shopping bags, he knew that all of these clothes were very expensive. Xiao Ningxun smiled and said, "You are my cousin. My mother treats you like a son, and of course I treat you like a younger brother. As long as you are obedient in the future, I will consider buying you any good things you want in the future. Here, your cousin, I still have some money. He Yuanhui nodded like garlic. Well, cousin, I listened to you. He was about to turn his head after saying that, but suddenly thought of something, and said again, cousin, our house is really beautiful now, let's go to the toilet. Bathing is also very convenient, and the yard has been renovated to look beautiful, as well as the fish, shrimp, and crabs in the pond. Grandpa and Grandma said it was all your idea. You are really good. I will learn from you and treat Grandpa in the future. Good to Grandma, good to second aunt, good to you. Chiao Ningsun nodded, then I'll wait. Okay, go study now. After dinner, I'll check your study to see if you've been lazy during this time. He Yuanhui nodded, yes. The family has become so good now that he has completely given up the idea of going to work. Studying is the easiest way out for ordinary people. He must study hard. While having dinner, He Yuanhui looked at the large table of delicious food and kept swallowing his saliva. The dishes in front of him include garlic crayfish, pickled fish, braised pork, steamed crab, sweet and sour pork ribs, and fish head and tofu soup. The portions are generous and he likes them all. And the crayfish and crabs are very big, several times bigger than the biggest ones sold in the wet market. It's better to eat at home. The food is much better than in the school cafeteria. Chiao Shulan gave him a piece of braised pork, then you should eat more. After you go to school, supervise your eldest brother and make sure he doesn't break down his body just to save money. Meat is a must in every meal. Do you understand? Oh, I see. The family stopped delaying and ate dinner quickly. Suddenly, Chiao Shulan received a call from Xiangchaman. What? That's too tragic. I think this is the retribution of their family. You don't have to sympathize with them. You will be moving out soon anyway. Well, okay, I will tell my parents, don't worry. After her daughter hung up the phone, Ye Kaixiang asked, what happened? Chiao Shulan then told Chiao Jianru that his landlord wanted to increase the rent and their plan, that's it? The fourth brother's house in the village has been unoccupied all year round, and it can't be lived in now. They can only come to live with us temporarily. The fourth brother also agreed. They will start packing today and will come back tomorrow after they find a house in the city. Xiangchaman and her landlord were at loggerheads, and she felt uncomfortable continuing to live in someone else's house. Although there are still a few days before the expiration of the house, if you lose, let it be a loss and just be happy. The two elders were immediately very happy. They could see their grandchildren again. Ye Kaixiang said, you are right. 3,000 a month is enough for a family to live for a long time. We must not take advantage of such a black-hearted person in vain. Chiao Kongsheng also said, if the rents in the surrounding areas are increasing, it is understandable for the landlord to increase it a little, but there is no one that raises it by 2,000 or 3,000 at a time. This is taking advantage of the situation. It seems that even God can't stand what they are doing. Chiao Ningsun nodded, that's right. Just now while sitting in the car, she also used her mobile phone to check the historical rents in the surrounding area. Last month, what those people rented was only increased by 200 to 300. The second elder is really happy that his fourth son and his family are coming back, and he has a great appetite. The whole family eats the dishes together. Although every room was clean, the second elder was still worried that there would be dust if he stayed away for a few days. After dinner, he cleaned all the empty rooms overnight. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 76. Chiao Ningsun checked He Yuanhu's homework and memorized classical Chinese and dictated English words. Seeing that he had indeed made progress, He was relieved and said, "Not bad, it seems that you have really studied hard." He Yunhui smiled proudly, "Of course, the final exam is next week, and I will definitely get a good grade." "Then I'll be waiting," Chiao Ningsun said again. "Cousin, when you go to school, bring him all his new clothes. Tomorrow you can simply wash them in the washing machine for him. It's better to wash your clothes before wearing them." He Yunhui nodded, "Yes, okay, cousin." It was getting late, so Chiao Ningsun went to wash up and went back to her room to rest. At 12 o'clock, Chiao Ningsun still took Xiaoha to Gushigu. At 5 o'clock, she took out a flashlight and opened the book on cultivating immortals. Sure enough, the fourth formula was unlocked. It was water control. Waterbending. Is this the kind of ability she imagined? Chiao Ningsun came to the edge of the river not far away, chanted the mantra, and waved his hand. Sure enough, she saw the water flying into the air. She waved her hand again, and the water fell to the ground. Well, it's quite simple. It's just that she can control temperature and resist water. I don't know if these two can be used at the same time. Thinking about it, she stretched out her hand. In just a moment, 3 waterways appeared in her hand, and she chanted the temperature control formula again. Sure enough, the water in his hand instantly turned into 3 ice needles. She waved her hand again, and the ice needle passed through the large leaves not far away and was inserted straight into the trunk behind the leaves. Chiao Ningsun was extremely satisfied. As expected, the water molecules in the air could instantly gather in her hands. This was a very good hidden weapon. If you encounter a bad person, just launch the ice needle at the bad person, and the temperature control will be released the moment it hits the bad person, so that no one can find evidence. She looked up at the sky again. Rain is also water. Since she can control water, she wonders if she can control rain. If the rain can be controlled, Grandpa and Grandma will no longer have to water their own vegetables when growing vegetables. She can just use her words and hands. The leaves here are so dense that she can't feel it even if it rains. So she took Xiaoha out quickly, found her own vegetable patch in a place with a wide view, and recited the formula. Sure enough, after a while, dark clouds covered the vegetable field, and there was lightning and thunder. In less than 3 minutes, it started to rain. Xiaoha suddenly roared, "Woof! You are pretty awesome." Chiao Ningsun was satisfied and quickly withdrew the formula. Soon, all the dark clouds above the vegetable field dispersed. She turned to look at Xiaoiche, and touched its head with a smile, as if she understood its meaning. "Haha, did you know that I am so powerful? Don't worry, follow me in the future, there will be many things that will open your eyes." Woof! Then I'll be waiting, new master. Chiao Ningsun was in a good mood, and just as he was about to take out some fungi to cover himself, Xiaoha shouted again, "Woof! New master, come with me." Chiao Ningsun also had a tacit understanding with Xiaoiche during this time, and quickly followed behind him. Xiaoha must have found something good again. Sure enough, after a while, Xiaoha took her to stop in front of a fungus. It turned out to be Ganba bacteria. In China, Ganba fungus can be regarded as the second most expensive fungus. Chiao Ningsun did not waste any time, and quickly chanted the birth formula, and then chanted the speed formula to herself, and collected all the large dried bacteria into the space. "Xiaoha, are there any more? Take me there quickly." Xiaoha nodded and took her for more than 200 meters, stopping in front of an oak tree. Chiao Ningsun walked over and took a look, and was shocked to see that it was actually a white truffle. She had seen a piece of news before that a giant white truffle could be sold at auction for more than 1 million yuan. More than 1 million. It would be great if she could get this much money at once. Even ordinary-sized white truffles can be sold for 500 to 2,000 pounds, or even more. Not to mention that the quality and taste produced by the magic method are so good, they can definitely be more expensive. Thinking that there was so much money to be made, Jiaoningsun couldn't wait to recite the formula and put all the white truffles into the space. But she kept a few of them and continued to give birth to them. When they grew to about 2 or 3 pounds, she stopped reciting the mantra. If all of them are sold today, she will have more money in her hands. With the money she currently has, she can't even afford a villa in a good location. She glanced at the time on her phone and saw that it was getting late, so she quickly put all the white truffles into the space. When she got down the mountain, she put it in a sack and took it out. Today is a rest day, but some people still want to try their luck in the mountains. Seeing many people coming towards her, she still took another way down the mountain. When I got home, it was already dark. While the family hadn't gotten up yet, Jiaoningsun quickly put a lot of dried mushrooms and white truffles in the basket. Of course, she also took out a lot of the ones she sold before. She recorded some videos and photos of ganbago and white truffle, and sent them to the vegetable sellers and Du Kunpeng respectively. It was still early, some people probably hadn't gotten up yet, and she wouldn't receive a reply for a while, so she continued to go to the top floor to make medicine. Just in case, she made some medicines. After her grandparents and mother got up, she also went to the kitchen. Nowadays, kitchens do not need to have a fire, they just use natural gas, so cooking is much faster and easier than before. Just after she went in, her mother asked her to rest or read a book. She had no choice but to wake up He-Yuan-Hui. As soon as he opened the door, He-Yuan-Hui had already started to solve math problems. Jiaoningsun stepped forward and saw that a math test paper was already halfway done. "Why did you get up so early today?" He-Yuan-Hui said seriously, "Cousin, you are so kind to me and give me all the good things. Of course I have to study hard. I don't want you and my second aunt to worry." Jiaoningsun was very pleased when he heard this, and said with a smile, "Okay, because of your hard work, I promise you that as long as your final exam results come down, no matter good or bad, I will take you to your final exam. Love the playground." She heard from her mother in her previous life that before He-Yuan-Hui died, he revealed to his colleagues that his biggest wish was to go to the amusement park in the next life. He-Yuan-Hui said excitedly, "Then we have agreed, I will wait for that day." "Well, I won't lie to you." Jiaoningsun wanted to say something more, but when she heard the messages kept coming from her cell phone, she ordered, "Just go downstairs for breakfast in another 20 minutes. Okay. Jiaoningsun walked out, closed the door, went to the living room downstairs, and opened the WeChat sales group. Unexpectedly, someone had already replied. "Only eat the fragrant ones and not the smelly ones. Wow, there are dry mushrooms and white truffles today. The resources in your mountains must be too rich. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible." Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 77. Chapter 77 Giant White Truffle. Eat honestly every day, that's right. Why does that mountain have everything? Look at me killing everyone. Group leader, are there any other fungi? If so, give me 5 kilograms of them all, including today's. Struggle for the rise of China, I want it too, I want it too. Other people. The bird that gets up early gets the worm, and the person who gets up early gets the fungi. I want 5 pounds of each. I also want. And me, this is a good thing. For a time, most people in the group were talking about asking for fungi. Jiaoningsun, there are no vegetables today, only mushrooms. Every kind I have sold before is available. Please send us the weight and the types you want. I will prepare them for you now. Come and get them when you are free today. That's it. Vegetables are really unprofitable, and it's hard work to pick them. My fourth uncle's family is coming back again, so I'd better keep them for myself and wait for them to grow in the fields outside before selling them. Anyway, the vegetable sellers often eat her mushrooms, which are also very good for the body. Within the group. Okay. Listen to you. The group of inland people successively sent over all the types and kilograms of the fungi they wanted. Qiaoning Suan, the wanderers will come over later and see how much they pay for the dried mushrooms and white truffles. I will sell them to you according to what they give. Okay. Fine. We can wait. It's all up to you, just make your decision. Qiaoning Sun also took out the giant white truffle, recorded a video and sent it to the vegetable sellers. Are any of you interested in this? If not, I will sell it to others. In order to intuitively show the size of giant white truffles, she put together a textbook for comparison, and also told the group how much they weighed. As soon as the giant white truffle entered, the crowd immediately exploded. Here I go, this is a giant white truffle. I've only seen something this big and heavy at auction. And the quality is so good, much better than the smaller ones just now. Group leader, did you find this in the mountains too? Group leader, how many do you have? We want them all. It would be great if you could buy giant white truffles. Group leader, you are really amazing. Group leader, the place where you live has so many good things, I want to live there. Qiaoning Sun is very satisfied with their performance. It seems that she has no worries about selling her giant white truffles. There are 3 of them, all found on Daguo Mountain in our Daguo village. If you want them, come and bid, I'm waiting for you here. The group is anxious again. Yanjiaxi, I'm in another place and can't get through. Me too, basically everyone in our group left together, and my close friends also followed me. I'm the same, I don't have people I can trust. Yes, for such a good thing, you have to go there in person. Lu Jing I can't go there either. For a time, most people in the group said they couldn't come over. They said they were worried about handing over such important things to others and had to come over in person. Qiaoning Suan, when can you come over? Nighttime then. Yes, I want to arrive at 6 p.m. at the earliest. We all went out together today, and it will take several hours to get back even if we rush slowly. Qiaoning Sun frowned. It seemed that she didn't choose a good day today. Why don't you ask your parents to come over? Your parents must be relieved, right? The vegetable sellers suddenly became quiet. At the same time, they thought about their parents fighting over the giant white truffles, and shook their heads at the same time. No, they certainly wouldn't do anything so disgraceful. At general auctions, they leave it to their subordinates to attend. Lu Jing I suggested, why don't we just bid in the group, and then just ask someone you trust to get it? The popular ones don't like the bad ones. Yes, I agree. Qiaoning Sun saw that her mother had already prepared breakfast and replied, okay, let's start in 20 minutes. I want to have breakfast. Can go. It just so happens that I have something to do now. Xiao Shulan brought the food to the living room. When she saw her daughter transferring the things on the table to the coffee table, she asked curiously, Ning Sun, what is that? Qiaoning Sun smiled and said, giant white truffles are very valuable. I will sell them later. Oh. Xiao Shulan didn't ask any further questions. Seeing that He Yuanhui had also come down, she invited everyone to have breakfast together. Qiaoning Sun finished eating quickly and sat on the sofa. As soon as 20 minutes passed, she sent a WeChat message, are you all still there? It's starting. The first flower has a base price of 200,000. The reason why the giant white truffle previously auctioned online fetched a high price is because there is only one, so it is rare and expensive. She has 3 flowers here. She doesn't expect each one to reach millions. If the 3 flowers add up to millions, she will be satisfied. He Yuanhui saw his cousin's serious face, walked over and sat next to her, and asked, what happened? Xiaoningsun put her cell phone on the coffee table and asked him to look at it together. She was in a good mood today, so she gave her cousin some rest time. He Yuanhui looked at the phone blankly. At this time, Lu Jing'ai on the other side looked at his phone and suddenly smiled. It seems that Xiaoningsun has done some homework and is not ignorant. Chu Yanyi looked at his phone and said nothing. Only eat the good stuff but not the bad stuff, 210,000. Eat honestly every day, 220,000. Look at me killing everyone, 230,000. Struggle for the rise of China, 300,000. Lu Jing'ai, 400,000. Everyone in the group. Yan Jiaxi, Lu Jing'ai, you are like this again. I heard from my brother last time that you were like this when you bought Ganodermalucidum. Lu Jing'ai, I really want it. 450,000. Lu Jing'ai, 50,000. The others won't fight anymore, there are still 2 flowers left, so they still have a chance. Xiaoningsun, 1 time for 500,000, 2 times for 500,000, 3 times for 500,000. Congratulations to Lu Jing'ai. Lu Jing'ai's nickname is his real name. Lu Jing'ai, haha, I accepted, thank you all. He Yuanhui has been watching from the side, too shocked to speak. Xiaoningsun continued to auction the second one, this one is bigger, so the reserve price is higher, 250,000. No one wanted to waste time. The second one looked to be of the same quality as the first one, so everyone added a lot before shouting. 400,000. 450,000. 50,000. 51,000. 52,000. Only eat the fragrant ones and not the smelly ones, 580,000. No one is bidding anymore. End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 78. Chapter 78 More than 1 million. Although they are rich, they are not fools. The additional price will exceed the original value of the giant white truffles. They do not want to be said to be stupid and have too much money. Although most of them aim to bid elsewhere, the profits are not much and they are not willing to bother anymore. Xiaoningsun, 1 time for 580,000, 2 times for 580,000, 3 times for 580,000. Congratulations on eating the good stuff and not the smelly stuff. Only enjoy the good things and not the bad ones, thank you everyone, I accepted it. The third round started soon. The third round transaction price was 600,000, and it was won by me. Xiaoningsun, congratulations to you 3. I wonder when you can come and get it? Lu Jing'ai, the old man behind your house will bring someone there in person later, just leave it to him. The other 2 asked Xiaoningsun to save it for them first, and they would send someone to pick it up in the evening. Other people asked her to keep ordinary white truffles for them, and they would send someone to get them later. Xiaoningsun, of course, agreed to them all. He Yuanhui saw Xiaoningsun put away her mobile phone, glanced at the giant white truffle on the table, and asked with astonishment, "Cousin, in just a short time, you sold more than 1 million. Before Xiaoningsun could speak, text messages that the money had been received were sent to her phone one after another. She looked at He Yuanhui and said with a smile, "Look, there are 3 text messages." Looking at the series of zeros after the numbers in the text message, He Yuanhui's eyes widened even more. Those people were so happy to give me money, and they haven't even received the things yet. Xiao Shulan had been paying attention to the 2 siblings. When she heard the movement over there, she asked with concern, "What's wrong?" He Yuanhui immediately came to his senses and excitedly told what he had just seen. "Just now, my cousin actually sold these 3 ugly things for more than 1 million on WeChat, and all the money was received." Xiao Shulan and the 2 elders were startled at the same time, looking at Jiaoningsun in shock. Jiaoningsun smiled and nodded, that's true. All the money has been received. Now the money in her hand plus the more than 2 million she had saved before, there are already more than 3 million. Jiao Shulan and the two elders suddenly lost their composure and asked Jiaoningsun to read the text message for them to confirm. This time, it turned out to be true. Jiao Kongsheng looked at the giant white truffles on the coffee table and said with fear, Ningsun, please save them quickly. If they get damaged, the money will be returned. This is a treasure, how could you just leave it like this? Jiaoningsun smiled and nodded, okay, one of them will be picked up right away. I'll put the other two in the refrigerator. Don't touch them. If she had only taken out one, perhaps the price would have been higher and it would have been easier. But the people in the group were very nice and took good care of her family's business, so she had no choice but to take out two more. The four of them nodded at the same time. Jiaoningsun came to the refrigerator, blocked the family's side with her figure, and put two giant white truffles into the space. The fresh-keeping function of the refrigerator is not as good as that of its space. Suddenly more than 1 million fell from the sky. Except for Jiaoningsun, the old Jiao family felt extremely unreal. They can actually earn more than 1 million yuan a day. How is this possible? Jiaoningsun saw that they were still a little bit unable to recover, and said helplessly, Grandpa, Grandma, Mother, Cousin, don't look at the millions we have in hand now, but they are useless. The housing prices in the city have skyrocketed in recent years. In a good location, the full payment is probably only enough to buy a house, and my cousin will have to marry a wife in the future. It is not easy to marry a good wife now, and it will cost a lot of money. After thinking about it, what Jiaoningsun said was absolutely right. These millions are really not that much now. When housing prices were low a few years ago, many people in the village bought houses in the city. Even though most of them were mortgaged, many families now have a fortune of several million. He Yuanhui looked moved and said, Cousin, you are so kind, you actually want to help me find a wife in the future. Jiaoningsun put her feet on his feet and touched his head, who told you to be my cousin? But cousin, I thank you for your kindness. He Yuanhui said seriously, my eldest brother and I will make money on our own in the future. It is not easy for my second aunt to raise me and my eldest brother. I am not a dissatisfied person. He can now feel that his grades have improved very quickly. As long as he studies according to the study method prescribed by his cousin, he will definitely be able to get into a good university and find a good job in the future. Jiaoningsun smiled and said, okay, we are still far away from marrying you, let's talk about it later. He Yuanhui did not waste any time and went upstairs to study again. After a while, the wandering people also came over. The people who wandered around were very excited when they saw that there were ganba mushrooms and white truffles today. These are more precious mushrooms in China than morels and matsutake mushrooms. So they called their boss to get permission and couldn't wait to start trading. Sun Yunchinj looked at the dried mushrooms and white truffles carefully and was amazed, there are actually dried mushrooms and white truffles of such good quality here. Miss Jiao, I'm afraid you will get rich again this time. Jiaoningsun smiled and said, look, how much are these worth to me per pound? Sun Yunchinj knew that Jiaoningsun might be Jungsuan's long-term partner, so he didn't cheat her. Wild ganbo mushrooms are very expensive. I can give you 1,500 kilograms. Wild truffles are also very expensive in China. I can give you 2,000 pounds. Jiaoningsun nodded, it depends on the price you offer. You can weigh it to see how much it weighs. Before they came, she divided some and prepared to sell it to the vegetable seller. Okay. After a while, Sun Yunchinj said, the dried mushroom is 46 pounds, the white truffle is 54 pounds, the morels are 42 pounds, the porcini mushrooms are 36 pounds, and the matsutake is 58 pounds. According to the price we gave is a total of 889,400 yuan. That's right. Sun Yunchinj quickly transferred the money, loaded the fungus into the car, and left Lao Chiao's house. Chiao Ningxun got the prices of ganbo mushrooms and white truffles, and quickly sent the prices to the vegetable sellers. They all trusted Jun Xian very much, so they didn't bargain. They all asked Chiao Ningxun to prepare according to the weight they just gave, and someone would come over to pick up the goods later. Chiao Ningxun quickly prepared. Although Chiao Jianru will come back with his family soon, Chiao Kongsheng and Ye Kaixiang both want to take this opportunity to water the fields, and Chiao Shulan also wants to go there. So she asked Chiao Ningxun to stay at home and call her fourth uncle and his family to notify them when they came back. Chiao Ningxun smiled and said, "It rained this morning, so there is no need to water it." The three of them were stunned. Chiao Shulan said, "But there was only thunder just now. Look, everything in the yard is dry." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 79. Chapter 79. Such great ability? Chiao Ningxun coughed slightly and said calmly, "Have you heard of local rain, right? The rain just fell right on top of our vegetable field. It watered the vegetable field thoroughly and then stopped. I was on the mountain. You can see it clearly when you are there. If you don't believe it, you can go and take a look." Others suddenly opened their eyes in surprise. Is there such a thing in this world? No, maybe there wasn't before, but there definitely is now. He Yuanhui was now convinced that his cousin was indeed extraordinary. When he saw others walking quickly into the fields, he ran over. Such a spectacle is rare. Sure enough, as soon as they arrived at the field, they saw that it really looked like it had rained heavily. Lu Yuero next to her came to water the ground early in the morning. She saw the partial rain just now, and said with jealousy on her face, "What are you doing here? God has helped you water the ground." After saying that, she turned around and murmured in a low voice, "If God wants to rain, he must let everyone get the rain and do equally. It just falls in one place. What a big deal. My land is connected to theirs, but there is not even a drop of rain come down here. It's really crazy." Lao Chiao's family walked around the vegetable field and suddenly looked at each other. It actually landed exactly on their property. How capable is Chiao Ningxun? Seeing that his family members were all puzzled, Chiao Kongsheng cleared his throat and said, "This is probably just a coincidence. It probably won't happen again in the future. You don't need to pay too much attention to it." The others immediately understood and knew that he wanted to protect Chiao Ningxun, so they didn't say anything. When they saw him coming home, they followed him. As soon as they arrived at the door of their home, they saw Chiao Jianru and his family coming back. Chiao Ningxun had already opened the door to greet them. The two children with keen eyes saw their grandparents coming back from outside. They quickly ran over and threw themselves into the arms of Chiao Kongsheng and Ye Kaixiang respectively. "Grandpa and Grandma, I miss you so much." "Grandpa and Grandma, I miss you too." The two old men had no time to be happy. When they saw the scars on Chiao Nianyi's face, their expression suddenly changed. Ye Kaixiang said distressedly, "What's wrong with this face? Why is there such an obvious scar?" Chiao Kongsheng also had a worried face. Chiao Jianru had already thought of his words and explained quickly, "I accidentally fell down on the road and got a cut on my face, but don't worry, it's fine." His parents are not patriarchal people, and they are equally good to their granddaughters, especially to his youngest son's children. They like him very much. Ye Kaixiang said solemnly, "Why are you so careless? A girl's face is very important. What if? Her face is disfigured. She stopped mid-sentence. She also felt that it was not easy to say this in front of her children. Xiang Chemin looked at Jiao Ningxun and said with a smile, Ningxun specially sent us ointment yesterday. He has used it on the child 3 times and the scar has faded a lot. Ye Kaixiang asked, Ningxun, you said you wanted to make medicine before. Are you making it for Nianyi? Jiao Ningxun nodded, yes. Jiao Kongsheng reacted instantly and said angrily, Shulan said before that she was going to take care of the 4th child, is it because Nianyi was injured? Except for Ye Kaixiang and He Yuny, everyone else felt guilty. Ye Kaixiang advised, well, the children don't want us to worry. It's good that the children have recovered now. Don't scare the children. Jiao Kongsheng saw his grandchildren staring at him with fear. He sighed helplessly, took their hands and walked home. The others knew that they had passed the test today, and they suddenly breathed a sigh of relief and followed them into the yard. Jiao Jianru and his family were all shocked when they saw the appearance of the yard in front of them. Is this still Lao Jiao's house? The yard in front of you is not only planned in an orderly manner, but the ground is actually paved with floor tiles and there is a pavilion. The area connecting the toilet and kitchen even has a glass corridor installed. An air conditioner is also installed on every window. You can tell at a glance from the outside, even the curtains have been changed. In the past, as soon as I walked into the yard in summer, there was an unpleasant smell of animal excrement. Now there is actually no taste at all. Jiao Jianru looked at each other in shock with his wife, and quickly looked around. Jiao Kongsheng and Ye Kaixiang knew that they were very surprised, so they didn't say anything and just let them look. He himself took the hands of his grandchildren to the living room, asked them to change into slippers, and then sat on the sofa. Jiao Ningxun knew that children loved watching cartoons, so he tuned them to the children's channel. The 2 children were actually curious about why there had been such a big change in their grandparents' home, but they didn't ask, they were just very happy. Since entering the gate, my eyes have been looking around curiously. Jiao Nianyi, my grandparents' house is so beautiful, it also has a big TV, which is bigger than the house we rent now. Wow, there is also a crystal lamp, which is also very beautiful. Jiao Nianyi, yeah, it's so beautiful. It also has a big refrigerator. The floor is also very clean. I can walk barefoot at my grandparents' house from now on. You must know that in the past, the ground was wet, and his grandparents would not let him go barefoot at home. Jiao Ningxun smiled and said, then do you like your grandparents' house now? The 2 of them nodded heavily at the same time, I like it. Then you can come back and spend time with your grandparents when you have time, okay? Can. No problem. Jiao Nianyi looked at the big refrigerator, Grandpa and Grandma, is there any ice cream in the refrigerator? Jiao Kongsheng said with a smile, yes, there are all kinds of ice cream, and your cousin bought them all. Very good. Jiao Ningxun brought out some more snacks and gave them to them, these are for you, eat them if you like. Wow, a lot of candies, potato chips and popcorn, thank you cousin. My cousin is so kind. Jiao Ningxun smiled and touched their heads, when you return here, you can live here peacefully. From now on, my cousin will give you snacks every day. Well, thank you, cousin. I like my cousin the most. After a while, Jiao Jianru and Xiang Chemin changed their shoes and came in. Jiao Jianru looked at the greatly changed living room and asked doubtfully, Dad, Mom, when did you renovate the house? Xiang Chemin was extremely pleasantly surprised. In the past, when the children returned to their grandparents' house, they started clamoring to come. However, every time they went to the toilet, taking a bath was inconvenient, and there were many mosquitoes in the summer. Not long after they came, they clamored to go back, and they offended Grandpa several times. Grandma is sad. This time she came over and she was ready to comfort them. Now the conditions here are the same as in the city, no, even better than in the city. The children should be able to stay voluntarily. You can still eat your own vegetables in the countryside, which is better than eating vegetables that have been treated with pesticides every day in the city. End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Ching Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 80. Chapter 80 To celebrate? Chiao Kongsheng looked at Jiao Ningxun with relief. It started last week and was only completed in the first 2 days. It was all Ningxun's money and the people Ningxun found. Everything was decided by Ningxun. She bought it and we didn't bother at all. Yakaxiang said, Ningxun is really good. Seeing that the bed in our house was broken, he even gave us a new bed. Hearing this, Chiao Jianru and Xiang Chemin went to the second elder's room to take a look. Sure enough, the room was brand new, and the furniture looked better than the house they rented in the city now. Chiao Jianru came to Chiao Ningxun, patted her shoulder, and said with a wealthy look on his face, well done, my fourth uncle didn't love you in vain before, but it is my responsibility as a son to be filial to my parents. There will be a huge commission every month. How much did you spend in total? My fourth uncle will reimburse you. Chiao Ningxun smiled and said, no need, I have made some small fortune recently, this money is nothing to me. The fourth uncle may still have some money, but if he really gives it to her, his pocket will probably be empty. Chiao Kongsheng said, fourth, here's what I think. Your second sister's household registration has been restored, and she doesn't have a house. You also have your own homestead in the village, so I plan to leave this house to your second sister in the future. Chiao Jianru nodded, this is as it should be. The second sister has tried her best to take care of you for so many years. Dad, Mom, don't worry, Chu Man and I have no objections. He didn't ask much. He thought that the fortune Chiao Ningxun mentioned was actually the compensation for the car accident. They estimated that it was only 300,000 to the outside world, but in fact it was more than that, in order to prevent people from trying to get her money. Other than this possibility, he couldn't think of any other way for Chiao Ningxun to make money. Xiang Chemin nodded, yes, Mom and Dad, this is your house. You can give it to whoever you want. We have our own house in the village and an apartment in the city, which is enough to live in. Chiao Kongsheng breathed a sigh of relief. Although he had known that the fourth son would not fight with his second sister, he still had to listen to him in person before he felt relieved. That's right, Chiao Kongsheng said, we two old guys don't have to worry anymore. Ningxun helped us pay the pension insurance, and we can get the money next month. Chiao Jianru and Xiang Chemin looked at Chiao Ningxun in shock. That costs a lot of money. Chiao Ningxun said disapprovingly, it's nothing, as long as Grandpa and Grandma are happy. Chiao Jianru sighed, Ningxun, when it comes to filial piety, my fourth uncle is ashamed of himself. Seeing that her daughter didn't want to continue this topic, Chiao Shulan hurriedly said, Lao Si, Chu Man, there are 2 empty rooms downstairs and 1 upstairs. Where do you want to live? The beds and furniture in each room are the same. They are very similar. Big and air-conditioned. Let's live downstairs, Xiang Chemin said, the people living upstairs are all students, and their schedules are different from ours. We all live downstairs, and the 2 children can live in the upstairs room. Good. After He Yuanhui learned about his fourth uncle's intention, he went upstairs to continue studying. The final exam is coming next week, and he needs to work harder. Chiao Shulan took them to see the room. After viewing it, she went to the car to help them move their luggage in. While helping to make the bed, she asked, what is the plan for the fourth child? Will he live in the company or here in the future? Xiang Chemin hung the clothes in the closet one by one, it's almost the same as what you said yesterday. I would like to ask your parents to take care of the child for the time being. He lives in the company and I go to the city every day to look for an apartment. Anyway, it's only now. In July, there is still some time before school starts. If there is no suitable one before school starts, we can only rent a house casually. We can't let our children travel between Daguo village and the city every day. That would be too hard. Xiao Shulan said, then I will help you take care of your children until you find a house, don't worry. Well, thank you second sister. The grandchildren are back and the fields do not need to be watered today. Xiao Kongsheng and Ye Kaixiang are very happy today. Even if the TV shows cartoons that they are not interested in, they still watch them with great interest with their two grandchildren. At noon, all the adults went to the kitchen to work, while the children went to the yard to have fun. After all, watching TV all the time is not good for the children's eyes. Xiao Ningxun went to the pond to catch some fish, shrimps, and crabs and brought them to the kitchen. Then he took his two children to the small pond to see the fish, shrimps, and crabs. The pond is surrounded by bricks. Generally speaking, as long as there are adults around, they will not fall if they are not allowed to climb up. As soon as the two children came to the pond, the bottom of the water was very clear and they could clearly see the fish, shrimps, and crabs inside. Xiao Nianyi exclaimed, "Wow, there are so many fish, such big fish." Xiao Nianyi also said, "There are so many crayfish and crabs." Xiao Ningxun said with a smile, "Do you like it here?" They both nodded at the same time, "I like it." "Then just stay here for the next few days and don't let your parents worry, okay?" Good. Xiao Ningxun saw that the elders were starting to carry dishes to the living room and keep the children away from the pond, so he went to help. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Seeing that the adults were busy, the two children thought that a guest had arrived, so they quickly opened the door. As soon as the door opened, a group of people rushed in before the two children could react. Two children were even squeezed behind the gate. Xiao Ningxun had been paying attention to the situation of the two children. When he saw the eldest, second, and third sons of the Xiao family coming with their families, he quickly walked to the door of the living room and blocked their way. "Our family didn't invite you, so we ask you to go out immediately." Lu Hehua looked at the braised fish in Xiao Ningxun's hand and drooled with greed. "When we go back to my husband's house, will it be your junior's turn to make irresponsible remarks?" Xiao Jianmo also said arrogantly, "That's right, I will go back to my parents' house." Xiao Ningxun said solemnly, "You have the nerve to say that this is your parents' home? Grandpa and Grandma have long since refused to acknowledge you, and you still have the nerve to come." Ningxun is right. Ye Kaixiang took the fish away from Xiao Ningxun to prevent her from burning herself. Xiao Kongsheng came to his granddaughter's side and said with an indifferent expression, "You go back, I didn't invite you. Today, when the fourth child comes back, I only prepared their meals." The second child, Xiao Jianzhou, was not annoyed when he was rejected. He said shamelessly, "Dad, we're all here, so just cook a few more dishes. You see, the house has become so beautiful, just think that we are here to celebrate you. I'm so happy about the decoration." Xiao Shulan said, "Since we are here to celebrate, bring the celebration red envelope and come over with the gifts." The three families were stunned at the same time. They never bought anything, and they even forgot to buy anything. End of this chapter.